Hi everyone, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours. I'm just sitting down actually in my room and about to start making some sprays and generally getting on with my day, and woken up and it's very foggy outside. It's quite unusual for here, really thick fog. It's just starting to clear a little bit, but very slowly, so it's like freezing fog. Black ice. I rang my mum today to warn her not to go out because I don't want her falling on the ice. And it got me thinking that maybe there's a bit of a analogy here in terms of what's going on collectively and maybe personally also in our lives. So what I actually was drawn to was to select this card for us, which is the card from the Stephen Farmer Earth Magic deck, which talks about fog, and you can see here the word is veiled. So if we just follow the story, I've actually chosen another 5 cards to follow this, to ask Archangel Metatron about the symbolism of the fog that is around us at the moment, whether you physically have it or whether you just feel in a bit of a fog with your life. Or maybe you look at the world and you see the collective fog that we've got with not being able to see maybe the leadership that you want or the direction that you want the world to be going in. So let's just think about this fog that seems to be descending on maybe us, maybe the world, and today quite literally here in my hometown of Bournemouth. So as you can see from this card, if I put it up to the camera, we've got the bright golden yellow rays that want to come through, the sun that wants to come through to lift this fog and lift the consciousness of what is around us at this time. But at the moment there's a lot that we can't yet see. So there's a lot that is going on behind the scenes. There is a lot that is not yet being visible to us in our own lives. So it feels as though there is a bit of a veil of secrecy. Maybe this is a time also where, and this can be personal or it could be collective, where secrets, lies, deceit, betrayals come out to be aired and to be seen and to be healed. So that's the first card that we've got, fog. The second card that came up after that was this one, which is the card which says cave and sanctuary. And this feels to me, it's very much linked into the energy of, again, the Hermit in the tarot, which is maybe this is a time for all of us to just retreat and go within a little bit. Looking at this card myself, I was really drawn to the fact that he was being creative. So whilst around him, whatever was going on in the wider world was going on, he was retreating into his cave here and actually being quite creative, drawing in this picture, but it has a wider symbolism in terms of maybe if you can't see the direction that your life is supposed to be taking at this moment in time, then start to be a little bit creative in terms of what you do day to day. And that can be as simple as just starting something new, or taking out the paintbrushes that haven't been used for years, or picking up a book that you've been meaning to read for a long time but haven't had the energy or the time that you've given permission for yourself to have to actually read it. And it can also be many other examples of that, but it feels as though it's a time for us just to temporarily retreat a little bit, particularly leading up to this new moon that we've got coming up on the 28th, which I believe is in Aquarius. And of course, Aquarius links into the new age of Aquarius that we're all moving into. And it's like we can't yet quite see this golden age for the world or for ourselves sometimes. But it is dawning. You know, the picture here does show that dawn is breaking, but it's very much in the distance and we can't yet quite see it. So get creative. Again, the message about being at home, keeping yourselves safe and sheltered seems to be very important at the moment. And I'm really just tuning into this week at the moment. The third card that comes up is the Milky Way, which is perspective. Keep your perspective. Whilst around you, others might be losing their heads or getting into drama or just getting very confused. Don't let other people's paranoia, other people's issues derail you. Remember, you are so much more than what you think you are. You are a child of the stars. Even though on the earth at the moment it feels quite unsettled collectively, and as I say, for many people also personally, remember that we are so much more than we think we are, that this life is really just one jot of an eternal journey that goes on, and that you've been on for a long, long time. And call in your star beings that support you at this time as well. Working very much with obviously Archangel Metatron, but he is the gatekeeper who opens us up to many more energies, galactic beings that really want to come in and support us also, to actually get a grip, I'm hearing, to get a grip on our sense of reality, and to stop being so drawn in to the minute details that bog us down and that keep us small and keep us just linked into our very frail humanity, whereas actually what we have within being human as well is the ability to tap into the divine, to tap into the greater consciousness and cosmos that wants to support us. So that's the Milky Way card that came after the card of Sanctuary. So far we've had the card of Fog, followed by the card of the Cave, the need to go within. And then we also have had the reminder of the wider perspective that the greater cosmos energies can give to us at this time, remembering that we are all actually children of the stars as well as of the earth at this time. The fourth card that came out today for this week is this one, which is the card of Instinct. We've got the wolf here, but I'm really over and above the wolf, who's obviously a beautiful guardian and protector for us through this week. I'm also looking at those mountains, and can you see that there is a veil of fog actually on the middle band of the mountain, but yet we can actually see the summit also. And the mountain is a really good metaphor actually, which is that sometimes mountains, often actually mountains, are shrouded in fog and mist and low cloud, and you can go to somewhere beautiful in the world to maybe look at Everest or one of the other great mountain ranges and be disappointed that you can't actually see as much of it as you thought you were going to because it's shrouded by low cloud or something. But the message here is very much that the mountain is always still there, whether you can see it or not. And the mountain stands for strength. It stands for our own inner strength. The thing about us needing to maintain a mountain pose this week, which is actually about having our feet firmly fitted to the ground, totally earthed, totally grounded, but also it's the 12-point chakra system that needs to be fully open so that we actually are also in touch with the higher consciousness, which the actual peak and the summit of the mountain very much talks about here. But I do feel more than anything this card is showing up today to just remind us, whether it's personal or whether it's collective, that even if low cloud fog is clouding your way at the moment and you can't see your way forward, whether for the world, whether for your own life, remember that the true reality is never really hidden, and that true reality is all about the divine Godhead that is actually always here on this earth and within you as well. But that beautiful wolf stands very proud and actually very confident in the terrain that he's in. If you look at the terrain that wolf is standing in, he's actually standing on ice-cold snow. It's quite a barren setting, even though it's beautiful. There isn't a lot to see other than trees and that mountain. It doesn't feel particularly fertile. There's not green shoots of recovery coming up. We can't see food there. We can't even see shelter. We can't see some of the real primary needs that we have as a species, which is to stay safe, be sheltered, to have food, to have drink. You know, the water is iced over there as well. But yet that wolf is perfectly comfortable in that habitat, perfectly able to navigate it, perfectly able not just to survive, but to thrive. And so I feel that he comes forward not just as a protector for us this week, but to remind us that even in hostile environments that may be around us, that we too can thrive and survive, and that we have an inbuilt mechanism within our bodies, not just for survival, but to strive to actually reach that mountaintop as well. So it's almost as though all of our needs are covered within this card. The primary base chakra needs to do with food, survival, health, but also the mountaintop representing that higher consciousness, which is also there for us to be able to reach this week as well, despite whatever is going on in the collective or the personal. So that's our beautiful wolf that's coming in. And he says also for us to trust our instincts. Whilst around us, as I say, many might be losing their heads at this time, might be sinking into delusion or illusion, to trust your own instincts. And they are heightened during this week leading up to new moon. I'm also hearing Archangel Metatron say that we can ask for a heightening of our own intuitive powers with this new moon in Aquarius that is coming. And that's because Aquarius, as I say, it is quite a dreamy, floaty, beautiful. I love the sign of Aquarius. But as I say, I'm really hearing the age of Aquarius as well. And we're all moving into that. We're moving into this new era of being able to be intuitive, to be telepathic, to just have a knowing when something's right or something's wrong. So even if you feel that you're quite good with that and have quite a heightened sense of that, I still believe there's an upgrade that's coming with this new moon if you choose to ask and if you choose to link into it. So make sure you remember that towards the end of this week. The next card that comes after that, in fact these two go together, talk about the element of air, okay? So we have the card of wind, which is activation, and we have the card of forest, which is breath. And the card here, the activation, the wind card, is obviously reminding us that the elements can help us to blow away this personal fog that we are in, to actually get out in the air, get out into the fresh air, take deep breaths of it into our lungs as life-affirming breaths, to clear the confusion, the fog that we may have within our own mind, within our own body, that stops us from being able to see not just the truth and the answers to what we need at this time, but also blinds us to the reality. It's as though we have blindfolds on that stop us seeing the real truth, which is that we have all the answers within us as well. So we have the element of air coming through here, really wanting to help us. And then we've also got, again, it coming through here in the card of the forest. Beautiful lime green and olive energies. And certainly this week, in fact today, I'm actually really aiming to try to create the new blend for the Archangel Metatron Hope Spray. And it's going to be a beautiful olive green. It's called Hope. And it feels very much linked into this forest card, which is that forests are places where we go to rejuvenate ourselves, where we become revitalized because we have that link to the earth. And we also have the link to the oxygen and to the air above. And forests, you know, always have this amazing ability to be able to regenerate themselves. Even if they've been attacked or they've had fire damage, they usually are able to come back. And so it feels as though the trees are also symbolic for us this week, to not just look at them and realise that they've survived everything that the planet's thrown at them. Certainly here in the UK, we've got some amazingly beautiful old trees that if you're lucky enough to be able to live near, go to them, or wherever you're watching this in the world, go to the trees, tune into their wisdom and what they want to say to you this week as well, because it feels as though they too want to play their part in giving you hope and reminding you that sometimes when you see a tree and it can look half dead, actually within it there is this new life that's coming through, new branches, new buds, new leaves that want to come through. So those are our cards that I picked in relation to fog. Obviously the colours that tie into that are the air elemental within the Metatron range, which is a blue colour. I don't have it to hand. I'm actually sitting on the floor of my study, so I'm not going to leap up and get it. There is also a Cosmos spray linking into the Milky Way, which is a lavender. But I'm also tempted, just as I'm sitting here and I have a deck of cards behind me, I'm going to pull one from this deck just to complement what we've just said. So this is for the week ahead, going up to this new moon in Aquarius. And I'm just shuffling here the 5th tarot deck, and we'll see what the complementary card is here that goes with the cards that I've just chosen for this week. Also, as I'm looking out of my window and I'm still seeing the fog sort of sitting on the chimney pots of the roofs over there, I'm hearing Archangel Metatron saying, don't try to force this away. You know, remember this first card here, veil, okay? It's veil. And veils can be very protective. They can come down to actually stop something from being revealed too soon. So the veil feels protective. This fog, even though it can be difficult to navigate, it feels as though it's also there to help us as well. Maybe if all of the truth came out straight away, it would actually be too much for us, okay? And I don't know if I'm talking personally or collective here. I actually think I'm talking both. It's very hard to separate out the personal and the collective energies at the moment. But there's something about this fog, which I'm using as a symbol here, being a veil which is protective to help the truth be revealed bit by bit. And we see that when fog starts to lift, it just lifts slowly. It doesn't usually just vanish straight away. If we look back at that word veil as well, it's the veil between worlds, the veil between this world and the unseen world, the veil between us here on earth and the angelic realm, the veil between us here on earth and those that have passed over. And it also feels as though the veils are very thin this week as well. And so be very respectful is the word I'm hearing. Be very respectful of that, and be very, as much as you can, try to act with integrity, because it feels as though, I'm actually hearing the word we're being watched. Maybe this is a bit of a test for us at the moment. And we're being watched in terms of, what are your words like? What are your actions like? How are you actually treating people at this time? The veils between the worlds are very thin, so they're here to support us, but they're also, it's not judgment, it's just, the word is observation, okay? Because we are here in this life to learn, and sometimes maybe I'm feeling there are moments where it's a bit like being at school, because effectively we are at school here on the earth. And it's not that we're tested, but it's as though I'm just seeing a collective consciousness, God, source, whatever you want to call it. It's as though they're just dropping in to have a look at how we're doing. Oh, okay, she's handling that like that. Oh, okay, he's responding with that, whereas he could have responded like this. It's that type of energy. So be very mindful, be very respectful this week. Tread very softly, I'm hearing. Tread very, very softly, and be very careful about your words as well. Words and actions. Right, let's pick our 5th tarot card. I'm going to give them a good old shuffle. And let's see what complements everything that I've just said here. So let's see what comes through. That one's flying out, which is water. We've got water coming through now as well. Elementa of shells. And over and above the picture, I'm actually going to read what this one means. Okay, so we've got the beautiful shell, we've got the lady, the element of water, who's coming up almost in celebration, almost wanting to say that this is a week to really try to master your emotions. And of course we master our emotions sometimes when we're tested a little bit, okay? But she's coming out in celebration here. Let's see what the actual book says. Elementa of shells. Which was lucky, I just happened to be sitting right beside the book. Okay. Hold on one moment. Apprentice of shells, seeker of shells. Where is the elementa of shells? Where are you? Here we go. Rising up. Ah, okay. This is about the divine feminine that I've written about on my Facebook page over the weekend, with all the women's marches that we had actually all over the world. It wasn't just in the US. We had an amazing number of people come out in the UK, and I wrote about it being, it's like an uprising of the divine feminine. And here's the words. It says, rising up from the waters like Botticelli's Venus, that beautiful painting. The Elementor of Shells is the full embodiment of all the suit represents. She is beauty, she is grace. She is love, light, peace and joy all at once. She is both the substance she is made of and the source of that which she is made. She holds the pearl of wisdom for all to see. Her strength and stature resonate the truth that love conquers all. I'm not going to read the whole message that goes with this, but it talks about a time of great fluidity. You've mastered the ability to go with the flow. You are the flow. You have the ability to blend into your surroundings and yet stand out, which is the ultimate act of Zen. Peaceful power is the energy of the Elementor of Shells. She reminds you to surrender to your inner guidance. It's exactly what we've just been saying. In order to give rise to the powerful strength that emerges from the cleansing and healing of the emotional attachment. Share the pearls of wisdom that you have gleaned with confidence and joy. Draw from the wellspring of your love and you will have attained the position of Elementor. And it talks about using your gifts and talents now to help others. So actually, if we look back at the pearl, which I hadn't quite noticed, but she's holding that pearl. And of course, pearls, you can't see pearls. They are created, within the shell, and then they're broken open. It's like, wow, I never knew that was there. I never knew that was being created from this place, which was hidden to us. And it's exactly the same energy that we've got here at the moment going on with this fog energy. There is so much more that I could say, but I think I'm going to save it for another video, so I keep this just clean with what wanted to come through today. I do want to make another video quite soon regarding some of the lessons that are coming up for us personally from what is going on collectively at the moment. And Metatron is saying, just keep going. Okay, I'll keep going. It's not going to be another video, it's going to be now. Okay, a few things. I'm assuming you've read my Facebook post, okay, which is Angelic Celestial Colours. That's my Facebook page. And on that we talked about the uprising of the divine feminine, the women's marches, but equally it being a male patriarchal energy that needed to provoke that into action. And that actually it's a perfect example of duality at play. Two energies, two conflicting energies that come together to produce something that couldn't be produced on its own. Something had to get those women out marching, and it was the comments that provoked it. I don't want to get political here, because at the end of the day, I really feel what's happening in the world, and America is being used as an example of that at the moment, is really above politics. And I know that sounds so silly and ridiculous, but that's what I feel, because it's almost as though we're seeing consciousness evolving and changing, and it's going to happen through challenging things that we don't agree with, things that we don't feel right to us. We're back to the messages of this reading, which is about trusting your own instinct. Now, there are going to be many lessons for us that come up, particularly via some of the things that Donald Trump is talking about at the moment in time. I want to make clear here that I've got no grievance against Donald Trump per se. I think if Hillary Clinton had got into power, we would equally probably be talking about lessons that were coming out of that as well. But we have got a Trump presidency, and because of the nature of the man, it is going to bring things up for us to look at within ourselves. And I talked on, I can't remember if it was my page, or maybe I didn't talk about it. I'll just mention it now actually. There is, we're in a number 1 vibration year, and number 1 is an energy linked to new beginnings. It's also linked to the energy of the sun, okay, the sun, bright yellow energy. In terms of colours, number 1 is the energy of the sun. And within Colour Mirrors system that I taught for many years, number 1 is a beautiful yellow bottle. And it also talks about the I am consciousness and the ego. And we can see very clearly that we have ego very much on display. So rather than trying to slam maybe that individual, what's being asked of us is that we look at our own ego. Because actually what we've managed to do is manifest somebody that's coming in who has got quite a large ego. And, you know, I don't know whether he's aware of that himself, but I suspect he probably does know that he is quite loud and proud, and, you know, that there is quite a full ego on display there. So what we have to do is actually look at our own, because the truth is we all have ego. We all have ego. It's actually part of the human nature. It's one of the main. We can't be human and not have ego. And ego can keep us very. It can push us on to new challenges. It can be a good thing as well. But when it gets out of balance, that's when we have a problem. So I feel as though, you know, let's look over. Let's not just criticise, let's try to see the constructive points that are coming out here, the energies that are at play. That's what I'm really trying to say. Let's look at the energies that are at play. And one of the energies that is at play is the divine feminine, that has got this loud voice that will not be shut up and will speak. So that's just interesting to watch all of that unfolding. And we've also got this thing about ego coming through, okay? So again, look at your own ego. Look at whether you feel too proud, you know, whether you are, whether you're tainted by that yourself, okay? I'm going to pull a card actually with regard to ego. Let's pull a card for ego from the 5th tarot deck. Let's see what we get. Card that's actually fallen out. In fact, there's 3 that's fallen out, which all make complete sense. Number 10, see that? Solar plexus energy. Okay, so then we have dragon, fire, breathing fire. Then we have flow. So there's a little story here, which is basically our ego self is needed. If we didn't have any confidence and we didn't have any belief in ourselves, we'd never get out of bed in the morning. We'd never apply for the job. We'd never strive for anything, because we would have sunk into that part of ourselves that thinks, I can't do it, I'm no good. You need to have a healthy dose of ego to actually get yourself out there to do what you need to be doing in life. But it needs to be balanced, okay? So we've got the number 10 energy there. This is all about the solar plexus for me. When it's out of balance, though, what we get to, I'm not reading these cards, I'm reading these cards intuitively, we get this. We get the dragon breathing fire, okay? Trying to control, trying to, well, I'm hearing the words almost like it's like a takeover power. You know, it's quite a aggressive, frightening energy, that, you know, for me anyway. It's the dragon that is just breathing fire over anything that he touches, even over water. He's trying to bring fire into that, okay? Actually trying to bring fire into quite a peaceful lake of water there, okay? So, and yeah, I love dragon energy, but this one right now, as I'm tuning into him, he feels full of anger, full of frustration. It's like, my will be done. Okay, and that's the opposite, of course, of the Lord's Prayer, which is thy will be done, which is that, you know, God's will be done. It's my will be done. Okay, so this is out of balance ego. And then we've got the answer, which is flow. Okay, the answer effectively is to be able to get out of bed in the morning, to be able to have enough ego so that we do believe in ourselves. There's nothing wrong with believing in yourself and feeling that you've got something valid to offer. But equally, we need that fire energy effectively to be able to flow in a more peaceful way, okay? To have outlets for that. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. That's what I'm picking up with that, okay? And equally there, can you see that the water that represents emotions, wider consciousness, flow, peace. It's not contaminated by any of the fire. The fire is contained. Here, the fire is just wanting to go anywhere it can, into the air, into the water. Here it's much more balanced. I'm going to read the message that goes with card number 10. Okay? And we did ask, remember we asked this with regard to ego. So 10 of feathers. Okay, I'm going to put it up here to the light. I'm not going to read the whole message because it's quite long. The sun is the emblem of the solar logos, which is the source of life and light. Like God, the sun eternally gives forth from itself without ever being diminished, establishing itself as the perfect symbol. It represents the heart of the cosmic pattern and the source of existence. The cosmos itself is a reflection of the logos, which exists here and now in the manifest world. Without the power of the mind or the power of light, the created world is unaware of the higher realities, even though it mirrors them. When we give the mind power over the heart, we will never be able to perceive these higher realms. We simply cannot experience them because we vibrate at a different level. Only when the mind is governed by the heart will we resonate to the frequency of love that radiates from the solar logos. Okay, that makes sense to me. So it's talking about the need for, when we're on an ego drive, it's all about the mind usually. It's about the mind, which is a lower energy than the heart. And what we really need is we need a balanced ego, and we need an open heart. And we need to also be linked in to our higher consciousness, the higher realms, our higher self. And if we're able to balance all of those in our personal lives, we will start to see a difference in the wider collective. In a way, if we use Donald Trump as an example, he's just a manifestation, he's just a reflection, he's a mirror of what many of us have within ourselves. And we really don't want to own that. We don't want to own the fact that we can sometimes get a bit too big for our own boots, or that we judge people that get a bit too big for their own boots. It's a very British saying. I hope it's flowing across the channel. And don't forget, I come from the UK. We're terrible at ripping people down. As soon as anybody gets successful in the UK, the media will just try to diminish them at every possible opportunity. It's a very, very strange culture in that respect. So the answer is a healthy ego. We can't push the ego to the back, to the shadow. That's going to create problems. A healthy ego, an open heart, an expanded mind whereas you're able to take in new ideas, listen to new ideas, and obviously the links to our higher self. And if we can do that through this week and through the months of this year, I feel that it's going to bring us all great peace. Okay, hope that's made sense. I'm sure there's going to be much more to say on lessons that are coming out from what's going on in the collective, but I'm going to leave it there for this video just so I can upload it quickly and you can see it today. Much love, everybody. I'm looking out my window. The fog is still there at the moment, but I'm making peace with it. You know, it is what it is, and it will lift when it is meant to lift, and that is true for us in our personal lives and in the collective. Much love, everyone. Bye-bye.